evening, everybody. After me, there's something for dinner, so just stay with me for 10 minutes. So when I finished the university, I had an enrollment to start with an insurance company. So I had a nice memo at home, stated my salary, stated my starting date, everything was fine. And then I went to my father and mother, and my father took my application and he did, it was gone. He tear it apart. And he said, "Dad, what are you doing?" He said, "You're making a mistake. You should go into the IT space, and within IT, IBM is the best company. And you should start as a programmer." So in that period of time, we listened to our parents. So that's what I did, and that's why I'm here 30 years later, standing in front of you. I mean, the choice of going into the IT has been just an excellent choice, because I think that IT has evolved from an enabler. You recognize the word? IT is always the enabler. Enabler to me sounds somebody is sitting in the basement and we call you when you need you. You know, don't rush. And I think IT has become really a differentiator. Six weeks ago, I was in Faro, in Portugal, and I met a fisherman. And this fisherman, he looked like you. This handsome young guy with a red tie, about 35 years of age. And he told me that he has a fishing company. So he owned 10 boats, and he had equipped all these 10 boats with sonar technology, with sensors, and also on the bows in the harbor, they put sensors. So the net is that this guy, this handsome guy with the red tie, did not go fishing 7 days a week, waking up at 4 in the morning, but he just went 5 days. And he just went with his data analysis and predictive stuff to the place where the biggest fish was. And he did his fishing. So if you follow this analogy, we could be here, we could be the fishermen on 30 years from now, with our nice ties and with our dresses, no tattoos on our shoulders, no hair coming from here. You know. Think about these things, how quickly these things can change. So now I go to Bari in Italy. In Bari, it's a poor part of Italy, as you know. So we had the fishery industry. It was dead. It was dead. Why? Because we had fishers over there, but they did the fishing, but they were not reliable to the local people who really wanted to buy that fish from the local people there. But they were not reliable. So they simply equipped these boats with sensors, etc., GPS. And more as ever before, they could predict what time they would bring the fish in Bari at the shore. And then the local restaurant said, but then I like to buy from local people. Another example that technology is used to regroup, revamp, create jobs, and you have an industry going again. So these are, ladies and gentlemen, examples of what we see in the European environment as a reality. And that reality is extremely important. That is my first point. Let's face reality. This is a global, open world. Technology is there. We have very, very smart citizens, very, very smart youngsters, and or we help them, evolving, or they will take their power themselves. That is the reality. And the reality is also for poor Europe that we were always accused of having non-leadership. But Europe, in terms of trade, in terms of university systems, in terms of a single market, if we can get that running, we are going to be the best geo of the world. So that's the space. So where do you want to be? So let's face reality, use the things we have on the table, our strong university system, our youngsters, our technology, and make it happen. Second message, we always talk about IT. So without being your teacher this evening, I like to specify that a little bit more. When I talk about IT, I talk about what we call these days infrastructure. That is this huge field of computers, storage, network, all that kind of stuff. Park it for a second here. On top of that infrastructure layer, we have a phenomenal new item which is called data. And data is, as Mr. Van Rompuy called it most recently, is the new oil. Data, unstructured data, everything we have over here. If we can bring this from information to insight, it is going to be a huge differentiator. On top of that layer of data, we have appliances, so we can do something with it. Mobility. 10 years ago in Stockholm already, they used technology and data and sensors, to create a mobility system where they reduced the traffic congestions, if you will, and carbon emission. I mean, we have examples where we talk about energy grids in Denmark with wind energy, where they use technology also to increase their business, if you will. So the point is basically that we have applications. The other example is in healthcare. So I live in Almere in Holland. And when I go in Almere in Holland to a doctor, you get 10 minutes. That's it. I lived in France as well, and there you have a starting time and no ending time, but that's France. But in Holland you have 10 minutes. And in these 10 minutes, you need to do 8 minutes of talking. So that's the model there. But can you imagine that I myself, because I have a vested interest in my health, typing all my data in my website. When I'm driving in my car, my wheel, measures my blood pressure and temperature at any moment. And use my TomTom as a cell to get this information somewhere digested. And once a month I get a report. And I go to my doctor in Almere in these 10 minutes, and in the first 30 seconds, I put my unique DNA on a box. And immediately this guy can say, listen, in Almere today, there are 100 people with the same symptoms as well. And 80% are treated by this medicine. Now, the reason, ladies and gentlemen, why I give you these stories, because normally two things can happen. Or you say, hey, this guy is out of space, and I think it's scary what he's telling. Or you say, this can be convenient. Maybe I like it. And when I talk to my teenage daughters, they like these ideas. They don't know yet exactly how to implement it. And we have some to-dos with data privacy, with security. We have some to-dos, let me face that. But this is where the reality is moving to, basically. And I leave you with another thought. Can you imagine that we get in a world that your doctor is going to make a service level agreement with you? So the doctor more or less guarantees that he or she ensures that you will be 85 years of age. And I, as your doctor, I'll do whatever I need to do to make sure you become 85, including paying penalties, likely to your spouse. But I mean, it is the way of thinking. But if you think this through, then this doctor has 100 patients that you all guarantee you will be 85. So this doctor somewhere is going to remobilize his business model, because he needs to invent in equipment and the data, etc., to do this kind of thinking. It is, ladies and gentlemen, think about these themes, because this world is going so fast. It is so open, technology is there, that we can use these technologies moving forward. And again, trust me, we have to-dos, and we need to go with the best and brightest to fix those things. But, this is the evolution. To conclude, a few final words. So we are in this world of social mobile. We all know it. But do you realize that the use of mobile phones, soon will bypass your desktops? So where are you? Where are we with mobile usage and mobile phone? This is a reality. Social media, it's moving from fun to really business. This is a reality that is happening. And finally, I leave you with the word of cognitive computing. So, a very interesting thing, to simplify it for some of you. We are living in a world, basically, where computers do what we tell them to do. We program them, we tell them what to do. But in this world of cognitive computing that IBM created with Watson, these computers take over. They're using all this data of the world, 7/24, and start analyzing and start interpreting, etc. So they get smarter. So the example is basically following. So I'm a surgeon, and I'm cutting in a patient. In an old world, I ask my computer, is this the right thing I'm doing? And then the computer says, well, I should try something else. In the new world, with my scalpel, which is loaded with sensors, I'll go in and the computer stops me by saying, hey, hang on, in 37% of the cases this is going wrong, so you better take this side. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it can be scary, but think about these things. This is where technology is moving. So don't see this as a threat. See that we have some things to fix, but in majority it's an opportunity. To close, I think this is a very interesting world. But it also requires leaders from us, because we are leading all an area here. That we know what is cooking, we know what is happening, we know what is possible, and know how business models can change. Think about this fisherman. Think about this doctor with a service level agreement. Think about poor Europe, that certainly can be the best year of the world, if you will, in terms of trade. Those things are possible. So we will talk about these things tonight, but I think it's a very interesting world. I think data is a huge differentiator. Companies like IBM are banking on data, because we really think that is the huge differentiator that will help us all. It will be exciting, trust me. Thank you.